Hello, everyone. Let's talk about LMNT Electrolyte drink mix and the one unexpected hack that I received from drinking it. All right, guys, let's jump right into this. But my first question to you is, how the heck do we pronounce that name? LMNT Electrolyte drink mix. I like to call it eliminate, so let's dive right in. All right, so I mentioned this electrolyte drink mix briefly in my last video, and I got a ton of messages asking me to explain this a little bit further. So I started drinking this electrolyte mix about 2 months ago, and I started to notice that every time I drink the electrolyte mix, my blood sugars would go down. And by go down, I mean they would go down 20 to 30 points every single time. At first, I thought it was a fluke, so I started checking on 2 different blood glucose monitors. And every time I drank it, I would definitely lower my blood sugar. In fact, it became a real eye-opener when one day I actually had too low of blood sugar and had to eat carbs to bring it back up. And that's when I began to wonder, why is this drink mix making my blood sugar go lower? So I started reading and studying a little bit more about magnesium, because one of the main ingredients in this drink mix is magnesium. And it did change how I used my magnesium supplement. And I talked about that in my last video. But I became even more curious when a friend of mine tried the same drink mix and had the same response, and it lowered her blood sugar. So the 3 main ingredients in this electrolyte mix is sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Since we've already talked about magnesium, I began to focus a little bit more on the sodium. Now, to my surprise, there's not a lot of research out there that correlates sodium intake to blood sugar levels. I only found one study back in 2011 that talked about participants in a study that swam in the Dead Sea and that their blood sugar did go down by about 13%. However, they followed this study up about 5 years later, and the participants not only swam in the Dead Sea, but a group would also swim in regular water. And they found no difference from the Dead Sea to the regular water in lowering blood sugar levels. So I decided to start looking at the research from a different angle. And I started to study what creates or exasperates insulin resistance. And this is where it became a little bit more interesting, because lower sodium intake has been known to increase insulin resistance in a few studies that they've looked at it. Now, they haven't looked at this at length. There's not really big, great studies that we can fall back on. But it is noted that too low of sodium in your diet or a lack of sodium can make insulin resistance worse. And in fact, if we're not taking in enough sodium, our body will hold on to whatever sodium we have. And that mechanism is actually insulin resistance. Now, and I originally bought this drink mix to help balance my electrolytes because we are in 300-degree heat. And if you have an autoimmune condition, then you know that our electrolytes are always never optimal. There's always something off or not quite right, and it causes me to have more lupus flares. However, I became more obsessed with trying to figure out why this drink mix was lowering my blood sugar so drastically. And since there's not really research on this particular topic at hand, all I can do is speak about what's actually happening to me when I drink the drink mix. So how I'm currently using the drink mix is I drink half of it in the afternoon and I drink the other half after dinner. I have noticed drinking it during those times has given me the best benefit for lowering blood sugar levels. I have also lately been able to use the drink mix to blunt glucose spikes. Originally, when I first started checking into this, I didn't think that it would blunt a spike, but it actually does if you sip on it while you eat. So the drink mix has about half of a recommended daily dose of our salt intake. It's recommended that we take in about 2,400 milligrams, and the drink mix, one serving, has 1,000 milligrams of sodium. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I don't even pretend to be one online, so I don't know all of the ins and outs of why this is actually lowering my blood sugar. And like I said, I have a friend that's trying the same thing, and she is seeing the same results that I am seeing. All I can do is speak on the actual results that I see in my daily life and then talk about it here on this channel. The reason I chose this particular electrolyte drink mix is because it's very clean. There's no gluten, there's no sugar, there's no artificial flavorings. The only issue is that I've seen some people complain that they don't like stevia. I, on the other hand, think this drink mix tastes really good. And in fact, I'm probably pretty addicted to it by now. And I have to limit myself to 1 drink a day. Now, in my typical daily diet, I don't really limit salt, but I've also never really added a lot of salt to my food. So I would typically cook with salt, but I'm not one to like add extra salt once it hits the table. All of my blood tests have usually shown all of my sodium levels within range. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I don't have a trend of low sodium, which leads me back to, I'm not sure why this is working so well to lower my blood sugar. I have also used regular water in comparison to the electrolyte drink mix and compared the two with blood sugar. And I do not have a noticeable decrease in blood sugar when I drink just plain water. So I don't know who is out there that needs to hack their blood sugar, but if your A1C is trending higher and higher, or you have blood sugar spikes that you're trying to get control of, try the electrolyte drink mix and see if it also helps you. This particular drink mix has changed the way I supplement magnesium, and it's also changed my viewpoint on sodium in the diet. If you happen to try this drink mix and it does lower your blood sugar, let me know in the comments. And in the meantime, we'll wait for science to catch up, and I'll see you guys in the next video.